Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back, everybody. So, how was your day? I mostly writing a documentation. So, as you may see, we have a lot of updates in our RoadRunner documentation. This is our staging site, which is used to just test documentation for the upcoming versions. So we have 1 2 2023, such big jump. 1 2 2023, yeah. Hey, contains some breaking change. So, and as you see here, we have a lot of updates in the structure, in components of our documentation. Just double check. Yeah, so for example, we have some kind of new docs running RoadRunner with Nginx, but so if you run RoadRunner with Nginx, it can lose half of its performance actually. So Nginx runs if you use Nginx with RoadRunner, so you have to use it because RoadRunner is not a web server. And so if you use Nginx with the RoadRunner, so it will be somewhere around 15k requests per second. I'm sorry, and solely with RoadRunner you would have 100 and let's say in my PC 100 almost 200,000 requests per second. So we have a lot of such new documentation, new organizational docs to make it more user-friendly. So to make for example, if a user wants to find some kind of docs, so that would be easy to do. But actually, so this documentation contains only configuration files, only related configuration files. We have some kind of PHP library documentation, but they just points you to the clients and the documentation inside the clients. So actually, RoadRunner is basically configured by the only configuration files. Yeah. So this is my job for today. What I did. So we have a few weeks until 2023 will be released, and yeah, so we have to clean up everything. So we have a plan which we designed yesterday. Plan about how can I open documents, RoadRunner Rust. So, as we designed yesterday, so this is our plan. Let me just check. Let me just slightly update it. Here's a Gorich. Gorich. So we are done with the Gorich tune. The next part, so we are also done with PHP because PHP, PHP automatically done since we are not updating anything related to the actual PHP architecture or configuration or anything related to PHP. So we just mimicking our Gorich protocol in Rust. So that's basically it. And so the next part is the RoadRunner itself. So I have some kind of repository for it. I have a very, very basic worker here, which is the same as we use inside the RoadRunner, but it actually should be reworked, I guess, because here I used a lot of the abstractions from this from the Golang architecture and Golang application, but now I guess we have to somehow update it. And we also a little bit later, we have to design this thing it's like with the number 2 worker washer. So this is a fairly big part of our of our SDK. So we actually don't need to implement some kind of binary search trees. We don't. I guess we can re-implement priority queue with monotonic stack. Monotonic stack. Yeah, so it should be renamed monotonic stack. Maybe we have to rework states. I'm not sure, but this is later. But actually, so the most complicated part here is this vector. So actually, that was a lot of work done to create this vector and to create all of this, to handle every edge case which can happen inside when you destroy worker, when you reinstantiate worker, and etc. etc. Yeah, so and there are a lot of checks and double kills, so if state invalid, so just double check, double kill the worker. And so this is not a very complicated part to create a vector which would be pop and push incoming workers, but the complicated part here is to make it very fast, because Golang channels, here vector is just a Golang channel, so it uses a channel under the hood. We can for sure create some kind of not a channel, but create just a stack by ourselves. We can even create it super optimized with only atomics, non-blocking, etc. etc. So, but it still would be much slower than the channel here. So I already tested a lot of the approaches, so and the big problem with this vector is that we can't remove channel inside the Golang, and any channel inside Rust also for sure, that we don't have a remove operation on it. So we can't basically remove any data from this channel. So only after we pop something, and then we check some arguments of this, and we decide to not to push it back, but reinstantiate it or reconstruct it in this way. And this is basically the problem with this vector. I want to see if do we have some kind of algorithms might be in Rust to implement. Might be stack in Rust would be much faster than it would be in Go, so we can use it, we can optimize it very heavily. So this is one part I'm worrying about, and I guess all of this I guess this reset also. So there are a lot of things, when we are as you may see here, let me just find the list operation. Reset, destroy, a list, yeah. So here as you may see we have a list. List just returns to us a worker information about the workers. And inside the Golang we have some kind of shared pointers protected with a mutex, just to check if we have just to check the information about this worker without interrupting the process of handling of request handling. And basically this operation is free until if it's so if you use just general procedure to pop, where's my pop, to take something from from the worker watcher. So basically list is free, but if we start using some kind of starting facing with some problems with, like, for example, watch, so in this case we definitely would require a log, like a big log, and we have to like block somehow this operation. I don't know how it would be in Rust, because in Rust you can't basically do you can't have like mutable pointers in the two same places. So we are going to try to resolve these problems like with just a shared pointer, but read only. And also I wanted to suggest where is it? So Kindle library. So I bought this book, and I have to say that this book is just fine to buy. Like so it's so especially for me, I only need a few chapters from the book just to read and like update my knowledge. But if you're starting to learn Rust from the ground, so this is very robust tutorial and guide which you can buy and like learn the Rust. So basically it covers all the platforms like Windows, Linux, Mac OS, so anything related. So you won't face any problems if you're like on Windows, for example. Yeah, so okay. Let's start to rewrite our RoadRunner core. So basically RoadRunner core contains of crates. I don't know if I want to have all of these kind of crates inside only one repository, because you know at the end of the day it would be like overloaded with the plugins. So since we have almost 40 plugins inside like RoadRunner, so this these crates would contain 40 sub crates, or like members of this workspace. And this is not good, I guess, because so how we can solve this task? So we can definitely update it in a way like we did in the RoadRunner, so just to split all of the things into separate repositories. But I also don't like this way. I wanted to have some kind of dynamic loading of the plugins. So I don't want so first of all, I don't need an endure. This is our abstraction used in like container used in the RoadRunner, so I don't want to have a container at all. So this is like some redundant things from the PHP, some kind of containers, dependency injection, and all of this. So basically I don't want to have anything of this inside the RoadRunner, inside the new RoadRunner in Rust, because it brings a lot of complication into the code. A lot of things are hidden from the user, like get something from the container and yeah, etc, etc. So it's like very hard to manage all of the things. Instead, so basically we would have any logger we want in any plugin. We would have some kind of standard loggers for sure, but if user wanted to use like any like logger he wants, so user free to just choose whatever he wants. And also we immediately we would have a problem with worker pool, so we have to eliminate usage of the server plugin. So basically inside the RoadRunner server plugin, so we have a service and we have a server plugins. So like used solely to instantiate a pool of workers. So server plugin connected to the SDK, and like create workers for our plugins. Are the plugins which need to use PHP workers, and the problem here is we definitely, I don't want to use a dependency between plugins. So if we create a server plugin, so we definitely would be needed to to somehow depend other plugins on these server plugins, but I don't want to do this. But we have a configuration for the server. In this case, I guess we just I guess we did a hack. We do a little hack inside our runtime. So if we, for example, needed to pull up workers, we will use SDK here, our REST SDK, to instantiate it. But configuration we bring from the server section. So we're going to read a server section. So it's just to be compatible with all of the current RoadRunner ecosystem, because we can't just skip it and create a new configuration. I definitely wanted to have some kind of toml configuration because I had YAML, but yeah, so we just can't do this. Let me just check this, our Discord. Embedding RoadRunner. Okay. So we still have to answer on questions. So yeah, we won't have. So also we just would have a little bit limited, configuration reference with the RoadRunner. So for example, if we would have TCP or Unix sockets here inside our server section, so we just reject this configuration and tell the user that okay, sorry, so RoadRunner Rust won't support this, and you have to use pipes. Yeah, if we see some kind of other than pipes configuration. Yeah, so let's start. Where is the worker? So basically here is our worker. Logger beat created. So we don't need to actually implement everything the same as we did in Golang. We just need to have only the needed part. We don't need this part, because we don't need actually any sync pools, but we do need all of this, so we should somehow create a worker. So we don't need where is it attached? I should have relay events. So I don't think we don't need events. here, let it be here. So let me check what we actually have here. So we have a worker states. Yeah, so states basically used to set some kind of state per worker. If worker, for example, have invalid state or have an error, so we mark such worker with different states, and for example, to destroy it and do not recreate and some kind of things. Here is how we set these states. Here's our actual payload, so we also have to mimic it. It should be somewhere in internal. Yeah, so we also should be able to send control frames. Control frames basically used to start like you're starting the engine in your car. So to start the communication between the PHP worker and the RoadRunner. So in this case, you'll need to get and verify process ID, like get and verify that like protocol works and everything works correctly, and you can then say that this worker works fine and it's safe to just to add it to the pool and start communication between the RoadRunner and this worker. So this procedure won't require any user land code. This is done only via our protocol and via our RoadRunner PHP worker. Yeah. So when we have a protocol, so I think that we can move all of the things related to the protocol to actually to the relay, to the garage here. Since we don't have anything related to the to other kind of protocols, so we don't need to like use a relay here. And only use a payload. So, and also, payload here is can be different. So we have a different control flags. So basically we have two control flags. We have a PID command where we just trying to verify the PID of the worker and the PID which have RoadRunner in saved, because when RoadRunner starts the worker, obviously we have a PID of this child process. And the second control frame is stop command. So stop command used to gracefully stop the worker, so to let the user to to fire every deallocate things, run every finalizer. I don't know what's like this. Right flags. Actually, we don't need to do this because this is a control flags, contains only, you know, few bytes. We actually don't need to check if it's more than 4 gigabytes. So this notation basically XOR 0 and set every bit to 1, and this can make a max unit 32 number, which is like 4 gigabyte if you like use every particular bit in this byte. We don't need this. And so I don't know if it's actually uses this branch. I don't know. So because this is not a payload at all. So control frame. So as you may see here, used only in 2 cases: to send a payload command, repeat command, and stop command. I don't know why. So repeat command located here and stop command located here. Why it's like this is internal. Oh yeah, because stop. Yeah, so we are in internal. So stop command uses used inside the pool actually, and repeat command used like here directly. I don't know why do we need this branch. Because we do know actually the type of the payload, so it's won't be any. We can use an interface here and just implement some kind of a slightly better type here, not only any, but yeah, you know, so we only need to marshal it. And yeah, so I guess we can safely delete this from the Golang version, and this won't save us a lot, you know. So this is only one like one check here, but yeah. Send control, and so how we can so we're in a beautiful way implement this in Rust. So we can actually use generics here. Let me just double check. Panic or not to panic. Generic types, trade and lifetimes. Yeah, so basically we can use this notation like specified here, but the problem with this notation is that we should somehow limit the types which can come here into as a payload. Basically we might have only 2 types, you know, so we can have like just let me just use it here, like struct like pid command, and inside the pid command we would have pid bool, int. Oh, Golang, not int i64. I'm sorry. So pid command, and we should use, I guess, third Rust. So third is just actually an engine to serializing and deserializing data structures, and we just need to use it like third JSON basically. Third version 1. So this is basically how to hello supervisor. No, it's you can buy it on Amazon. This is just the Rust programming language second edition. It like was released, I guess, a few weeks ago. This is kind of I do like this book. I read the previous one about the 2018 standard of the Rust, but this is also like continue of this second edition of this book using the 2021 Rust standard. So yeah, we can use derive. So yeah, basically oh, we have a different search zone. It's just, for example, not required in general. Okay, so we can use like this. Third, and basically we can just add an attribute here, derive. We don't need to deserialize it actually. My pleasure, supervisor. So I don't know. Is import here, but it's only tried without derive. Oh yeah. So we also have to use a macro here. Features, yeah. Features derive. Let me use it. So update. Bam. Yeah, so we only need to serialize it, nothing more. Only, so let me double check this. Do we need to deserialize the data? No, we don't. So we should just send and forget. Send control. Yeah, and then we need to receive a response from the PHP. Yeah, so just some kind of synchronous kind of communication way. So send and receive. And in Rust, I would like to change this. I would like to change. So we should somehow mark, not particularly this case, because this case just works just fine. So we don't need any performance here or any asynchronous engine here, because it's just like a bootstrapping part. But later I do want to update so this kind of send and receive part, synchronous part, and use it in some kind of a synchronous way. I don't know if this is possible, so we should like I don't know, introduce some kind of IDs just to like, so if we have some kind of request, so just to map this request to the needed response, so to have some kind of synchronization mechanism here. So synchronization mechanism, so we introduce async to have a synchronization mechanism. Yeah. Okay, and second thing that we is a stop command. I don't know if we do need this. Yeah, why not? Yes, we do need it. So basically stop command is only uses a stop and bool type, just to indicate that the worker should be stopped. Okay, so send control frame, and here, so we should we should somehow use, I want to use the generics here, so just to limit just to limit number of possible variants which can come here. Use self, and let me just use a different file. Let it call commands, and move this commands to this file. And we also need some kind of impl pid command. Let me say func marshal. Let me something like this, and I don't know what we are going to return here. And we also need to implement default for pid command. Yeah, so and default, so just return to us self with pid 0. So since we don't have like pid 0, so the first pid is pid 1, which is init D in your system, in your Linux system. So pid 0 would indicate for us programs. Yeah, not only for us, you know. And what are you arguing here? Yeah, correct. So we can derive this default. So since we are using only like default types here, like 0 for example, so we can safely use an just attribute. Yeah, correct. Now let me see how to use it. Sergison. And we actually need to use a to vector, and so what pid we send to our PHP worker? So payload, send control. Oh, we send. Oh. So we should have.
It explains your cocky attitude.
I don't know. So we should have some kind of new command, like func new, and return just self, and
I can spot any change in your physiology. Everything from your weight to your.
oh no. So we can use the default. Yeah, so we should override the default. Import default for pid command. So why we should override it? Moreover, we should not only like use our custom default, because here we should use self with not a pid 0, you know. But here we should use our get pid. And let me check how to do this and get PID in Rust. So, oh yeah, std process. Yeah, so correct. Just forgot how to do this. std process. ID. And I don't want to convert these types, and I'm going to use this U32 as well. We can use like this. Is this a cross-platform thing? Let me check. I guess it should be. Oh yeah. So yeah, they have some kind of different operating system here for the other functions, but still, I think that this is you know, some kind of cross-platform things. And basically, so we can do like this. Okay, and now when we are using Marshall, so first of all we should use default, and then Marshall we just need to pass our function here, so like yeah, like a pointer to it itself. So yeah, just like this, and then and result, yeah. Okay, and we should return an result vector u8 or error. So this is our errors. Okay, so no, we don't need to do this. We are going to use a yeah, so why not? We can use this, but expected result found vector. No. To vector. Okay, so let's do like this. Pipe error. Cause error to string. I'm going to introduce a new type of error. Let me call it Marshall error. Cause string like this, and let me add okay, so we have an error. Why it's unused? Yeah. So, and here we returning an result with our marshaled data, or we returning an error to string. But I wanted to know why we can't use our syntax like this. So couldn't convert to error. Oh yeah, so we have a different type of error here. Found. Couldn't convert to error. Yeah, so what type of error it uses? Oh, so it returns only result without any error actually. So we can just like skip it like this. Oh, I guess this is like, yeah. So this is famous caveat in Rust. So if you see result with one type, just so think that this is like a overridden error, a overridden result like this. Okay, so what type of error they use? Oh, they use their custom, like, okay, so yeah, I won't be able to implement from their type. Okay, so we did this. We implemented this Marshall. And I wanted just to limit our, our implementation to this Marshall functions. So for the things that have that implement this function. Rust generics implement some function. So let's see the samples. So we don't need this T because this will like implement everything with this T. Basically, we just need some kind of T like as ref, for example, and here we'd have like data T like this import. Yeah, so and missing type elements. yeah, so like this, as ref-t, but this is not as reference, but actually I want to see if we're able to limit to the function implementation, like we can do in Go, for example, that we have some type which implements some methods. Definitely it could be a trait, so let me check. Trait Marshall. So, but I think this is Marshall move self and result vector. Oh, I'm sorry. Function. Vector with the bytes like U8 and R like this, and where T marshaller. So can we do like this? Private trade. Oh yeah, so we can do this. Oh, so wrong function, I'm sorry. So actually I have to implement this on send control, so not on the receive data from std out. So like did like this, but actually I don't think so. Here we can use like payload. No, we payload Marshall, but we have to instantiate it somewhere out of this function. Yeah, why not? So, but this is some kind of, you know, make me feel that this is a Go when we are just like implementing things like this, and I want to know if it's like a Rust way actually, so to do things like this. Yeah, so this is also some kind of limitation, but this is yeah, so this is coordinates, this is not. Yeah, also the very nice thing that Rust uses monomotorization. The things like compile every particular case in the native type, you know. So if we use like payload, so we won't use some kind of fancy compiler things when we are passing the data into the send control function. We can just safely so Rust just create for every particular type that passed to this send control function, that compiles a generic version of all of these things. I mean, not generic, but so particular things thing for this payload, for example. I don't know if this even possible to read Amazon books on streams. But yeah, now let's do this. Okay, so this is simple. This is also simple. So basically, this, all of these kind of books, like most of them, covers the free like books, like this Rust programming language book, for example, Rust Lang. So like a lot of these books cover. So this is good starting point to learn the Rust, just as this free book, and then you might like get something which is not covered by this book in the paid books. But basically, like, I don't know, 70% of this book is covered by these free tutorials, so even the samples are the same, struct point with. So this, I don't know, these samples are so good, or they just copy and paste everything from from the Rust book actually. Okay, so since we would have marshaller implemented for the both, for the repeat command and for the stop command. So the only thing, yeah, and also we need to implement default, but yeah, so actually we don't need default for the stop command, only as an attribute, because stop would be the false by default, and would be true if we wanted actually to stop the worker, but we specify this. I guess I don't know. So I guess we can do this self stop is equal true like this. I don't know, so let's be more explicit, not implicit, Okay, so answer on questions. Yeah, so stop command default. I don't know. So if the user, so if especially I wanted to use a stop command. So this is only one use case. I think stop command won't be used to not stop the worker. So this is that's why we would use this stop true. So by default, stop would be true by default. Okay, so the next thing we need to just rewrite our. So basically, we need yeah. So we have two cases here. Oh yeah. We have two cases here. So first case, if we send, so we can return an int64, and the second case, when the control, we return only an error. So okay, so here we have we might return like this, u32, because we're returning a PID actually, and let me do like this. Okay, 1. And so yeah, so we can't do this function actually generic, I guess. So we can use send PID and send. So I guess it's better to send PID and send stop, like two commands, because here, yeah, so because here we have actually two functions, send control and PID, because they are slightly different in their logic here. So here, as you may see, we are returning an PID, and we have to unmarshal the response. So we can't. So we, like, technically we can behave differently. So for these two cases, so for example, try to unmarshal if we have PID, but this would lead to error. I don't want to see errors here, and the result of this function also different. Yeah, so let's use two functions, and so actually we can't use generics here. Like, okay, let's deal with this. So for the PID, we're returning an u32, and for the control, we're returning only like this. So only okay with the empty payload. Yeah, and here we're returning like this. And so here for the send control, we are going to use let control is equal to like control frame. What is a control frame actually? So send control sends. Yeah, so then sends both. Oh, yeah. So these are two different commands. So, so I actually I wrote this a long time ago. I forgot how it works, but yeah, we're going to figure this out. So this is like Okay. So then I guess we are going to let me double check this. So we have a control. Yeah. So the difference between these things is that we have only one kind of control command, but this is kind of wrapper around the like two cases, for example. So we have a PID case and we have a stop case. So send control for this stop command, so internal stop command. Send control. So, and we behave slightly different based on the hours. Oh yeah, so yeah, I get this. I get this case. So the difference became a little bit later on our So control is just a basic. So I forgot how it works. So shame on me, you know. So basically control is a base building block here. We can send a control from the PID and from this stop, you know. For the stop we don't need actually to read anything, you know, here. So we don't need to read anything because we know that after stop the worker will stop, so we don't need to receive the data from it. So and control returns only an error, so we only need in our Rust version here only an error for the control, and we do need our generic theme, our payload, which is T, actually T, like T. Okay. Then we need to write flags here. I don't know. So I really wanted to. I really want to delete all of the thing. I don't think that we have a place where we like sending a bytes here in a control. So let me double check. So here this is a structure, definitely structure, oh, hello Crumb. Yeah, so with this question, sure. So let me describe how it works. I don't understand actually what are you meaning by sending. I don't know about your task, what is trying to solve, but I just describe you how RoadRunner works. So RoadRunner is basically the server for the PHP. So it can be instantiated and started on server. So you can't deliver the RoadRunner to users, for example. So here is the RoadRunner. RoadRunner contains of several plugins. So architecture of the RoadRunner designed in the way that you have a lot of plugins attached to the RoadRunner, to it, you know, like this. All of these plugins are compiled into the RoadRunner bundle. So basically you can create your own plugin. It's very easy to achieve. Like for example, let's see our the most easiest plugin ever, Xzip, to xzip a payloads or unxzip a payloads. So this is basically it for the plugin, you know, 50 numbers, 50 lines of code only to create a plugin. But if you're creating your own plugin, you have to use our tool called Velox to combine everything into one piece. Then you have a PHP files, so you have requests. RoadRunner have an HTTP server bundled into it, like HTTP. Not only HTTP, but also you can handle requests via the fastCGI, FCGI, and also via the HTTPS, and also via the HTTP2, but the HTTP2 called H2C means HTTP2 like clear text protocol, so without HTTPS, because any HTTP2 communication requires actual certificates like TSL certificates. But if you saw somewhere, for example, that HTTP2 works without like TSL certificates, this protocol called H2C, basically HTTP2 over the clear text. Then requests which are coming from the user, you should have some kind of web server, load balancer, web server, not WebSockets, like web server. I mean, Nginx, Apache, Kadi, whatever you want. So whatever can proxy the request to your application. Or any load balancer like Amazon load balancer, ELB, or like similar things related to different providers. Here is like with this nice color. It means this is a load balancer. Then when user sends a request, RoadRunner have a plugin called so we have a lot of plugins. Basically any of this plugin can contain for example workers, PHP workers. What basically is PHP worker? So PHP worker is a process. So in terms of RoadRunner doesn't know anything about PHP itself. So RoadRunner only starts a process. So to start a process you should have a command. I sent a command to you in the chat. So this basically the command is this thing into our configuration. So you should have this command basically before you start any so you can't just start this on the fly. So you can do this actually. So we have abstractions called worker, and we have pools of workers, so whatever you want, but you should create your own plugin to handle this. So you can basically create a worker on the fly and then destroy it, but this is not how it's supposed to work, because the main difference between a PHP FPM, for example, and RoadRunner, and why RoadRunner is so fast, because RoadRunner will not stop the workers, so actually the processes, and you can handle you can like bootstrap your application only once. I'm completely not a PHP guy, so by the way I don't know PHP at all, so I'm just describing how it works in terms of RoadRunner itself. And RoadRunner just like a very smart process manager. Then if you have your own application and you want to embed RoadRunner, you can embed, come on, I need to use a different color. You may embed all of this thing up to this load balancer, yeah. And you may do the following. So you should know the path to the worker, to the actual script that you are trying to execute. Inside Nginx, if you had previously an experience with, for example, Nginx, you have to specify this is our staging documentation, so this is not released yet, but I have a very nice thing here. So like this, like this. So if you have fast CGI to pass a worker to the PHP FPM, you might also have index PHP, some kind of things inside your configuration. But this inside RoadRunner, it works a little bit different. RoadRunner starts all the things before. So if you want to embed, if you have an existing Golang application and you want some kind of route your request to the different plugins, prevent browsing from even going to the internet. Actually, you can do anything you want, but to do this, you have to create your own plugin. So you can. This won't work very fast actually, because per every script you have to, you have to instantiate this script from the beginning actually. So you can bootstrap it and then kill. So I don't know actually how it would work in terms of performance, but for sure you can do this. We have a thing called, like, for example, where's our server plugin? So you can just create a simple plugin like this, for example, and request and let me double check. Request this plugin. Where's this method? Where are you, my little method? Yeah, new worker. So you might modify slightly this new worker method to spawn worker. So to write the worker to the disk, so to write the text, it doesn't need to be real fast. Just fast enough. So 1 RPS would be fine. So you can do the next thing. You can just, if you have a 01000 binary representation of the PHP script, some kind of, and you pass this the data with the script to the RoadRunner, you can create your own plugin, which can, your plugin, which can definitely write this file into the disk, transform it, just write it to some kind of file .php, and use just a command here inside inside your server plugin, where I shared you this command here, php file php, and instantiate worker exactly at the moment when you write the file. So when you write this file down, then you might start the worker or start a pool of workers. This is actually, pool of workers would be preferable because you would have some kind of concurrency and parallelism here. But yeah, so you start a worker and then then execute and then work, So then you can just use, so you can basically, I don't know. So this is kind of very interesting case, but you can solve it with Golang much more faster than you'll solve it with with the PHP for sure. But since you're not needing any performance, you may use the existing tools in the ecosystem, So because this is kind of looks like a little bit weird, to create things like this. I think definitely you can do better with just somehow rethinking the architecture you have currently. So to say in truth, I hear this case a first time in 5 years. I work on RoadRunner. So I never hear about the case when you need to create a worker on the fly, but why not? So actually you can do this if you want to have some kind of fun task with the Go and RoadRunner, creating your own plugin. why not? I'll help you if you need it. Yeah, and yeah, my pleasure. If you would have any questions, feel free to ping me, or yeah, you're welcome. Okay, guys. So let's continue our rewrite, and basically here in our Rust representation, yeah. Have a good day. Yeah. So I don't know. So we have assign control, but we also have a. I just don't want to like, you know, mimic everything from the Go to Rust. So we don't need this. Boom, boom. Only need this. Oh, hello, Julie Jean. How are you doing? How's your evening? So, you know, every time I asked you how was your evening, how's your day, say yeah, same old shit. You know, but I don't know. So I have you know, I guess a boring like things in my current tasks is to write a documentation. So I write a lot of documentation for the release 2023, and I'm even like code in Markdown. So I'm now, it's proud to say, I'm now can be called a Markdown developer. So I know a lot of like tricks. Yeah. yeah, definitely. KPIs. Oh, yeah. And also I promised to release a very stable and very like well documented version of the RoadRunner by the end of this quarter. And you know, I can't. So I have to do this. So I can't do other way. You know. Because of this, we are working on the Rust version of the RoadRunner, just to say, guys, angry crowd, you know. Okay, guys, we have a Rust version. We started working on the Rust version of the RoadRunner, so keep calm. So everything is okay. And yeah, so basically I thought that a Rust version of the RoadRunner with some kind of limited amount of plugins would be very nice for like I don't know how to call this for the like companies, or I don't know how do you call Laravel. Is this a company, or is this like just a project? I don't know. So for the things like Laravel, because they are only use you know, only HTTP plugin and yeah, nothing more. And I guess like super performant version of the HTTP thing would be very nice for them. Yeah. And we also would have by the end of the week we also would have a retrospective to like how we behave on during this quarter. Yeah. So you know, this is a way. This is the way. No, Georgian. So now I'm trying to see if I can safely remove this shitty part of the code. So yeah. So basically, you missed everything. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I told that classic, yeah, that we have also like some kind of retrospective by the end of this week with the team. Yeah, all of this kind of things. Yeah, and I want to see how it like would behave if I remove the whole this part, because I don't think that we have a sync control flags with byte payload actually, and anything we want to do here is to just marshal it into the bytes and send inside our frame. So I don't think that we payload data should do anything different here. So, and by the way, I like Linux related stuff. I used a Compton, or like modern version of Compton is PCOM. It's not a window manager, is Windows compositor. And so I read somewhere that inside the i3 you actually don't need to use an Windows compositor, but recently I edited and it changed everything. Like, very nice experience, very different things. So different application I think working with this Windows composition managers like PCOM or others, and behave different. So like more smooth, more effects, some kind of and yeah. So my i3 experience would never be so good, I guess. So just finish the tests and let me continue. Oh yeah, for sure it should hurt you deeply, because it's like you have to move all of the things, and this is closures, in Go it would just okay, it's fine, everything's fine, you can do this, you can do a lot of closures, but once upon a time on your production it will be like a boom. Because the closure was used by two different Go routines at the same time, and the data was written, and one client received for example, the thing designed for the second one. So we had this case. So this is case. Yeah, so we have a lot of things, but basically I prefer the question mark to use, and you also can, yeah, so we have a lot of async function here with the frames actually. So, and actually this code is open at the moment, so you can have a look at the Gorich Rust. Here you are. So this is the link to our current repository with this code. Yeah. Yeah, sure, for sure. So error in Rust. So it's not like so this is the main difference between the Rust errors and Golang errors, for example. Golang error is the same time across everything. Every distro, every library uses the same error type. So there's nothing indifferent between these error types. But in Rust, the so I looked at the let me show you. So for example, here to vector, as you may see, this is the result, but this is kind of strange result. Why it returns only vector here? Because result should return also an error. So result is okay or error. Navigating to the result, bam! So the famous Rust thing. So type alias. And this is we are very lucky that the result here is like only, I don't know, 100 columns. So it's not so long. But it can be like up to here, up to the end of the screen, like combining a lot of different results. This is kind of weird in Rust. I don't know. And also you have to have this if you wanted to convert between different type of errors, for example. So you should have this impulse. So basically, a lot of the project use stdio error, and this is very easy if you have, like me, for example, you custom types, you custom errors here. So this is very easy to implement. So your errors for the errors returning from the different, libraries, and use only this question mark. So which will return an error, or if you have like implemented this front trait, it will just convert to your type of error. For sure, it's better to have like error, I don't know, it should type ID, and like much different, like map different type of IDs from the IO error to my types, but actually all of these errors comes from the pipes, so this is a pipe error. So basically, when you become more familiar with Rust, all of these problems actually are not the problems. But when you know how all of this kind of shit works. But I actually do like this kind of syntax. This is like remembers me like .NET, C# actually, like C, mon, C#, async, await. It's not very possible. So in C# you can also use these things, and it also forces you to use like async functions, so you can use await only, but this is like a different await stays in front, like of this statement. For example, instead of Rust, it at the end of it. And you can also use also use async. So this comes to me very familiar because I previously worked a lot with C#. So async await is like oh nice, like C#. And also they are very similar to C# because inside C# they use also state machine, and inside Rust this is also a state machine. So and so this is how this is. So comparing to the actual Golang version, as you may see here, where we have let me just double check this inside Gorge. Boom. So if you compare so the Rust counterpart with the Golang, so I do like Rust. Like the Rust seems like more complicated than Go, but actually, so for example, let's like see row by row. So read full. What does it mean? Read full of what? Read full of what is inside the socket, or what is up to length of your buffer. So this is a question. You have to like navigate and exactly length. So this is not the same as like read full, like everything that in the socket at the moment. So you have to know this. And also you have to provide so like Rust and like a mutable pointer to this read full, and in Rust it would be like read exact. So And this is, I guess, more clear that it would. So this is actually doesn't matter how much bytes. So this is like points you that exact where, exact in your buffer actually. Yeah, for me as well. And also like how I handle this case. I thought that to handle in Rust, this case would be much more complicated than in Go. But actually, it becomes much more simpler. As you may see here, this is how I handle. So I just don't want to use this question marks here. And I just, okay, fine. Let's go with this much pattern matching here. But yeah, so I don't want to convert from this error type. And actually I don't need, so I can use just is error here, like is error or is okay, and this is fine. I can like remove as a half of this lines of code. But actually, as you may see here, so we have a duration here. In Go, you have to check, so what is set read deadliner? So you have to check one interface with another interface. So you have to like know that the relay, which is actually IO reader, this is like very commonly used interface in Go, like IO reader. So it's like used everywhere, I guess. So in any library. And this is on the interface. And as you may see here, we pass an IO reader here, and we should check if this thing that is under this IO reader interface is like covered with this IO reader interface under the hood. If this thing implement other interface, set read deadline, just to not block when we're reading the data from the socket. So if we are trying to read the data from the socket, it actually doesn't matter. This is not a Rust or Go related. This is like a system related. We can block. If we want to send a special system call called like read non-block or non-wait block, I just forgot what is the actual like name of this system call, but basically every read to the socket is blocking. And if you like recipient won't send you an end of file or close the connection, so you block like forever. And in Go, we handle this like this. So we have to check if it's deadliner, but on Windows, this socket is not a deadliner, and we are returning an error without reading the data actually. So on Windows, you won't get a description for your like why your worker failed. So you receive only first 12 bytes of the error, but it can be like not enough to figure out what is the issue actually. In Rust, on the other hand, we can use like this timeout with await syntax. So we don't need actually to use a like question mark here, because we don't need to return from this part. So we just need to await for the 2 seconds, and then so just read the data. That's it. So it works on any system: Windows, Linux, macOS, FreeBSD, so everywhere. Yeah, so this timeout blocks until we read to end. So this should receive a future. So this, as you may see here, so this is timeout future, and I'm using an Tokyo buffer, and Tokyo buffer actually implements future. So it's actually asynchronous. As we see here, you read to end, and where unpin, and read to end, and async read. So yeah, so actually this is not very hard to implement by yourself, it's just a polar actually, so it's not so fancy thing which should be implemented, but yeah, so it's reading to end, to the end of the data. Or for example, if you send if it blocks and user won't send you end of file, and it blocks by, I don't know, any reason, just choose whatever you want, the reason why it can block. So and user won't send you any file, so it will be just stopped. So this process will be like terminated. So actually what we need to have, so terminate this process actually. And so this function unblocks, and we have so everything what we actually like read from the socket until we block in this buffer. Yeah, and so we're returning this to our user. So this actually, I guess this is much more simpler this that our like counterpart in Go. So at least for me, because I wrote this thing and I wrote this thing. So I can say that like to figure out how to handle this in Go was much more complicated than since I have in Go like experience in Go. I like work in Golang in like an enterprise since 1.4 version, I guess. Now it's 1.20, and they have 2 releases per year, so quite a long time. And I know very well Go and a lot of caveats from the Golang and a lot of things, but it takes me a lot of time to figure out so that this relay or this IO reader should also implement this kind of interface at read deadline. So I navigate, so I have to get all the code base, all the runtime, and oh yeah, so we have this method. Yeah, very nice. And then also this declaration, I bet you that half of the Golang developers doesn't know that you can declare an interface like this. So this is basically zero declaration, and actually won't cost you anything, but so you can do like this, like local anonymous interface. Yeah, and this turns me out that so actually Rust can handle all of the things much more gracefully and much more like beautifully, I guess, than I can do this in Go. Go, very nice language, and I'm not arguing about the Go that Golang some kind of bad language, you know. Go is very nice programming language, but so it's very nice for prototyping. It's very hard to prototype in Rust because you have to do everything. You have to have everything implemented correctly from the first guess. First implementation should be correct. You can't prototype such in Rust as fast as you prototype in Go and or PHP. I haven't written a single if. So yeah, and actually I don't think that I a big fan of functional style. If I have I think I told this earlier, if we have like a lot of like ethers, map, zip, folds, I guess somewhere in the middle I'm particularly losing my mind and losing the context what's happening so with the data with the data later. But so might be it's like lack of experience, I don't know. So might be when we will be much more experienced in Rust, so even 100 like things like map, ether, or other functional style things wouldn't scare us, Yeah, and I'm enjoying when I'm writing everything in Rust here. So this is for me, it's like this is a really great experience. And if you wanted to learn Rust, you can just join me in my in my adventure to rewrite RoadRunner in Rust. So you can at least read Go, and what read Go and rewrite this in Rust. Yeah. Mutable. Yeah. So I have to do this mutable. And also so we are at the beginning, so any feature that you can do basically would be like a small feature, so you can do basically anything. I rewrote, I guess, everything related to the Gorich. So now we have a protocol working actually. So as you may see here, if I start this PHP worker, actually we use I'm using here our so existing worker, and nothing changed inside the worker actually, and so you can safely use Gorich now to create any other things. For example, we have an RPC plugin. We have so basically what is a nice thing about new plugins which I wanted to design and implement in Rust. All plugins would be like independent, you know. So now if you have a look at for example Server plugin, yeah. So Server plugin uses a container called Endure, and it depends on these two plugins, and configure and named logger. So configure interface provided to you by the config plugin, and logger provided by the named plugin, logger plugin. I won't say this is a bad architecture actually. So this is good architecture, and because I designed it. This is good architecture, but it fits only Go. It fits only Go, and in the Go you just don't have an ability to write a shared object or DLL, dynamic library, or dilib in Mac. You can compile like your Go application into shared object file, but it's very hard to, I think it's impossible at the moment just to use FFI, because you should have runtime, Golang runtime. Inside Rust, I have things. I guess on the next stream, I am going to implement the bridge to load any plugin from the shared object file, and you can basically get any plugin, logger for example, or so actually we don't need a logger anymore because logger will be bundled. So like HTTP or what we'll have, any of jobs plugin if you're familiar with like Kafka, RabbitMQ, anything. So and just try to implement them. So or help me with re-implementation of this kind of things. So currently I'm trying to re-implement the SDK, so the basic building block for our future work actually. So without SDK it would be very hard to instantiate a pool of workers, for example. So we should have so if we have plugins without workers, Kiwi for example, yeah, we have a Kiwi plugins, a set of plugins, I guess. Let me just check. For example, we have Redis, yeah. Or I wanted to bring into the RoadRunner the Dragonfly. If you know this like thing, Dragonfly not going. So I already googled this Dragonfly GitHub. This is not, yeah, Dragonfly. So Dragonfly DB, this is a very nice project. Yeah, I guess so, but yeah, might be you're right. So where is it? Yeah, so I think that if I create just a bridge, I had this bridge previously inside RoadRunner. I deleted it by some reason. Let me just see the history. Why I deleted it? function worker. Nice. From frame. It's too full for this bar. Yeah, I'm using this kind of ILO. This is the thing is like let me show. Just grabbing a random commit message and putting in. Yeah. So I will do this very soon. So fish, and inside the fish I think functions and ILO fish. Yeah, so this is very nice project. Like if you were bored with the, like for example like creating a, I don't know, this is not the whatever commit com, so it whatever what the commit, I'm sorry, so this was previously whatever commit, yeah, what, come on, what, yeah. So the last commit message about silly mistakes, and basically you can just like, you know, update the page, and here I'm using the curl to just get this message: fixed unnecessary bug, never before had a small typo like this on custom. I can't look so lot to fix. See last commit hippie dragons disampen, like copy paste to fix previous code. Basically this is hilarious, you know, copy paste fix previous copy paste debug line test. So, and I'm using a lot of this thing. I found this, I guess, a few years ago, and it still works, you know. And I wrote this small fish function. So if I wanted to commit some, like, for example, I have my Go Playground repository, and I wanted to commit like anything I want. Like I don't care about the commit message at all. So I'm using this tool. Forgot to save this bumpkin poems third time. At times this was a garbage man. Oh no. So as you may see, but there were a lot of not very polite commits. I figured out that I recently used this not very polite commit in the repository, and I changed a lot of files, you know, so a lot of files in Go Playground. It was like 20 folders or 30 folders. And so every particular line contains this very non-polite commit. So with the end bomb, you know, with the everything which is can be so not polite at all, and I have to, oh my god, I have to force push to delete this commit, but someone can see this, so it was like faster. So I guess so this is, I guess this is a perfect commit. This is what we are working for, actually. This is why we are working as a programmers. We are like tuning shit into the goal. So this is, yeah, this is very fun. More stuff. Yeah. So yeah, we are fixing our shit. Yeah, more debug. Who wrote? I don't know what I mean. Yeah. So this is this is my the thing for the day. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, first blood. Yeah, so this is very funny commit. So and with this small script, you may use like git add, git commit -m, and curl just to grab like any commit you want and put it just in your just testing, remember to read. But I figured out that all of this is like a real commits. So this is the real commits. I don't think that someone just like tunes their imagination and like created these commits like from the zero. This is real shit actually. So I saw a lot of times commits like this. Moreover, I produced a lot of times commits like this. Actually, on the one of the projects, I produced a commit in like 2 different languages. Like our team was like from the USA, and I produced a commit in Polish. Just I forgot to switch my layout on the keyboard, and I just like come on, I'm using this. And then they just asked me, Valerie, so I know this is Latin letters, but what is this commit standing for? And I'm like, oh shit. I'm sorry, guys. So, but they had a very like good code review. Like they wanted to very clean and nice commit history. So every commit should be like, should be state of the art of the commits. So if, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, greetings to HR. Yeah. Okay, so I think that I never get to work if I read this site any longer. So the rest is to just update our worker and in our pool. Let me check what's happening here. So I have okay. So it's I'm thinking that we have some kind of additional salary if we answer the question from the guys from the Discord, like in a 5 minutes. But actually, this is how our community works. I can say how I get into my work-life balance. I just don't have a life. Only work. So you have to remove the life and everything becomes very, very nice. But to saying truth, yeah. But to say in truth, I have a following schedule. I have trainings. I streaming, and after stream, I for sure have to read the book. I'm reading this book. So this is Duna from the Frank Herbert. So this is a very nice book, and I'm reading 1 hour this book. So this is without excuses, so I have to do this. And then all other time I spend with the family. So I guess when I finish the stream, I'll like read the books and we can check this. So since I have a Apple device and the Apple device tracks my sleep, let me check. So let me see. Where's my sleep? Yeah. So actually, for the month, I have something like this. I don't know if you can see this. Say me if you. So if it's like works nice, I can't. Can I just have a look at this? Yeah, I guess it works nice. So yeah, so average 6.5, and the average like it's from, I don't know why it's 6.5, because I'm going to sleep at 2 a.m. you know, at the night, and wake up at 8 a.m. So it's only 6 hours. So where the hell I get these 30 minutes? So yeah, this is the average for the week. It's slightly at a little bit more, like for a few minutes for the month. Yeah. Yeah. So and yeah, actually it's like 6 hours sleep. Sleep for sure. So actually it's somewhere around 6 hours, something like this. This is pretty fine for me. So 6 hours, it's like, yeah, I can get pretty like healthy with this amount of sleep, I guess. Let's see actually, so how it works in future. But I guess you need some kind of schedule to like things that you should do in a particular like timings, like spend the time with the family. So wake up at the specified time, for example at 8 o'clock, and go to sleep. And so I don't know that this this prevents burnt out in our profession. I never faced with a burnout actually in my whole life, since I'm working a lot. Yeah, and also I have to solve a lead code tasks here. Yeah, and I don't know, so it works. Somehow it works. where we send this payload actually, to the STDR or I guess STD out or send STD in and write or no. Oh yeah, so is mutable. And socket write all and frame and bytes. Boom. Something like this. Oh, we actually don't have. I'm sorry. We don't have this, and it should be mutable. And oh, this is an option. Oh yeah, so this is yeah. Is mutable, and then oh yes, since we have an option, so and not result. So we also can convert from option to result, but yeah, so this is not worth the thing to do this. Just let we can do like let some socket new is socket also the nice thing which I do love in Rust is if let and this socket mutable socket new write all frame bytes. So I do like this a lot, this syntax, like if let something. I'm missing a lot of this kind of things in Go actually. Oh yeah, and we have so this is also our this is a wait function. What is here? Frame bytes. What we? Oh yeah. So we can't write bytes. We should. Do we have a mutable? So we should have. Yeah, so the data passed to this read function should be mutable, but we have these bytes, which is just a vector. We can do like this actually, so and mutable. So what do you have? Oh, yeah. And why it's like so weird? Oh yeah, so yeah, so we can't do this because this is temporary. Yeah, and this is like a nice thing about Rust. So in Go, I can do this, and I miss the very important thing here that this created temporarily actually. So, and we can't return like thing which is located on this and be destroyed after we return this from this function. Because here we are copying it, actually cloning when returning. So yeah. I guess we just need to do like this. Let data, let mute data is equal to frame bytes, and then mute data like this. Right, all those need to mutable reference. Oh, so if it doesn't need a mutable reference, can I? And this will be also will be a temporary. Yeah, so just checked. So guys, just checked. I'm just checking the Rust compiler. So let's socket, and we are returning. And so what we have to return here? Okay, so we just need to return an okay. And here we return an error. Error of our I don't know, pipe error. Like our famous pipe error. Our famous pipe error with echoes.
I want to give you what I think is the most authentic recipe. So first up, guys, you only need this ingredient.
Sorry. Like something went wrong, or we can get a commit from our what the commit com. Can't get child std in out from the option like this. And yeah, so here if we have some data, so no, this is actually none. Get none child std in out from the option. Yeah, so this is kind of not some, and this is like I don't know, I like this syntax. This is very, so I guess not for particularly this case. We can also, I guess, use use a shorter syntax here like this, just to not allocate all of local variables.
And you can get some pretty good results, actually.
Okay, so this is our send control function. Okay, and send control, and we can also delete this. So I don't know. I hope we are not break anything with this deletion of this. But I thought that we just can't return. We can't have this. Can't have this case. So just impossible. Why it's not possible? You stupid bastard. Say me. Why is it impossible? I don't know. So I guess we never sent anything from like a raw bytes. But let's see. So we have a lot of tests in our application, and the basically the test like end-to-end testing, and they can like test basically every particular case. So if something so if this deletion leads to some error, so this definitely would be catched by our tests. From the send control function. Okay, so eliminated. So deleting the code is much more funnier than creating it. So delete everything. Okay, so send control. We basically might have here our generic marshaller parameter, and we can use whereas payload marshal, and here we have our implementation of our marshaller, and we can basically have defaults. So default for our pid command, and pid command by default uses our process ID, and actually our marshal for the stop command actually uses stop set to true. So in every particular case, because so stop with false, it's like have no sense actually. So stop false, send a stop command, but stop like I think like stop, but hold on for a second. Like, I don't know how to explain stop with a false, or hold on, don't stop, move forward. Worker, please move forward. Okay, so then we have to implement additional command called pid, and send control. We have a stop command here. Yeah, so yeah, we can send control frame. So since stop command like doesn't send us anything from the relay, basically for the stop, we actually can use it directly. So directly like stop, because we don't need to receive anything. But for the pid command, actually when we send this control frame with the pid, we are receiving a data here. Where is it? Yeah, here. So we are receiving actually the data. Data should contain a pid of the process, and we are going to test this. So let me just create this. Okay, so we need to self send control, and let mutable, actually not mutable, let pid is equal to pid command is equal pid command default. Oh, this is not public. Could be imported. Thank you very much. Okay, so then we need to marshal our command, serialize. What? Oh. And we need to command marshal, and actually we can do like we did in this function, like so pretty much the same except with command. But yeah, so but we can't transform, so we can return. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh sorry, yeah, so we can do this. I just expected that we can't we should do something with U32 here. So U32 here is actually our pid, yeah. And then we need to So we are sending this control frame. Like self, send control, and we sending. Oh, I guess we can do this. Actually, we don't need to have, yeah. So marshaller. So can we? So what we can do this? So we don't need this. It's not satisfied. Why is not satisfied? We have a marshal. We have. So do we have a trade? Maybe I should have a trade. No. Yeah. Why we should do this? Marshal. So everything, I guess, fits nice. Cargo, please tell me. So I do like also this error messages. So now I don't understand why we can't pass this command, and I'm compiling this to like I'm calling for the compiler to tell me what happening here. So required by bound introduced by this call. So the trait Marshall is not implemented for PID command. Required by this bound. Yeah. So, but why? PID command returns and like PID command. And oh yeah, sure. Implement marshaller for so sure. I just forgot. So this is I forgot because of Go. Definitely because of Go. Because in Go we have a duck typing interfaces, and we only need to have a method which like which is like the same as the method used in any function. And so this is my my poor Go behavior. We actually don't need to do this. We can do like this. Send control, and we are going to get a result in error. I guess we need to convert it. Let mute result. Yeah, so we can't use this. Apply to try. So it should implement future moreover. Okay. Send control. Oh yeah, so I'm stupid. I'm just stupid. So missed this case, and we don't need to have anything here, just like this. And why it's like mid-delete binden? Yeah, why not? So because we are not receiving anything, we just sending a control frame, and then so we are sending, and then we are going to receive something. And self receive std out. So we are going to wait here. Wait, and we are going to receive a frame. Let f is equal to frame. Yeah, so we are going to have a frame. If frame is none, it's not applicable for us. Like let flux is equal to frame read flux. So yeah, and yeah, if flux, so if we have this bit set and frame oh, I'm sorry, it's not a frame, it's like this, frame control, frame flux, yeah, frame, let me check where is it, control, yeah, control, just control, so because we have already imported it, we can do this, SU8. And if it's equal to 0, then we have an error. And we're going to return an error here. Error. So this is just a placeholder. It's like our famous pipe error. Cause. And cause would be like full. This is just a placeholder, you know, guys, not for the actual usage here. And then we have to unmarshal. Yeah, so now we have to unmarshal, and we have to get a payload. Let payload is equal to frame payload and serve JSON to structure. To value, yeah, and value would be our pid command. Unwrap. Let's just use. So how we can use this? Use struct. Oh yeah. Can we do like this? Yeah, we can. Oh yeah, no. I'm correct here. We are using a payload here, but here we are going to use result as payload command, like this, I guess. No? Change type of res to value. What? Let me check the third documentation. So how we can deserialize from JSON to the actual. Oh, first of all, I guess we need to have deserialize for our pid command. Serialize and deserialize implemented here. Just use a Google search. Deserialize structure. have to read to string and then use, yeah, so this is expected, I guess. Okay, so the difference that we have a little bit more syntax, I guess, code for the Rust than in Go. So since we have our payload, oh yeah, so we already have this. We have third JSON, yeah. I guess it should be like this. Let result is third JSON from slice, yeah, and here will be our payload and unwrap, and here is our pid command, yeah, like this. And then okay, we have a pid command. If result don't have this field publicly available, if this result p is like less than 0, okay, less than 0 or equal, just panic, just a placeholder, and then we are going to return our OK with res and p. Yeah, like this. Okay, so let's test this. Let's test this out. So we don't need this. We don't need this. Why we have two same an error. Yeah, we don't need a flag here. Actually, control got it JSON like this, and yeah, so basically we can't is equal to 0. We can't have u32 is -1. Implementing derivatives by the compiler, so oh, okay, thank you, Clippy. And how we can test this? We can create test2. So, you know, my test name like test names are brilliant, like test1, test2. What they are testing, only God knows, and me. And what we are going to do now, so actually we don't need a payload, we don't need anything related to the frame. We only need to send control. And then we only need to check PID. So to send control, we need to have payload and control frame. We are sending our. So what we are sending here for the control for the first time? Yeah, PID command. So let's use PID command, not stop. And here is our oh, we actually can use just PID. So why here we are using oh yeah, so yeah, so we can use just PID. And oh, we don't have result, yeah. can use a flat for sure, but yeah, so this like Clippy also suggests us to use a flat. Okay, so and just like println our p, yeah, like this, and do not forget to put the breakpoints. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Bam! Panic immediately. Yeah? No? No? Okay, so we sent this data. Oh yes, this is Tokyo runtime. Why I hit all of this? So this like places. I don't know why. Yeah, and we should jump like. Okay. I think. So why? So I guess something like just exiting or what? It's very hard to say. So might be we're not receiving a data from std out here. So now we have a header here. Yeah, we definitely have a data, but I guess this is kind of trash. This is not the actual data. Yeah, this is the error. And why? So we have a test worker. Let me just check. Do we have? I guess we have this command, pid command for basically everything. Yeah. So when the worker started, yeah. So we start the process, and then we are like pidging it, like not pinging it, but pidging it. And by some reason, the worker sends to us a complete trash. I guess it might be because of our. So how we can get string representation? Let me just check. I guess this is because the worker is receiving some kind of trash in our marshaller here. So data to vector UTF data unwrap. Oh. Temporarily broken. Temporarily dropped. Why? So what's happening here? So okay, we are cloning the data. but we should found structure vector, yeah, as slice. Yeah, borrow moved value, classic, and here I guess let me just skip this. I guess I should be able now. Borrow of moved value. Oh. Oh, yeah. So we have to... I just missed this. So we can just clone this and use here. And I just need to like convert it from... Okay, it seems correct, like bid and the number. This is basically the same which we sent to our in our Golang version. So it's bid and the comment. So this is the correct payload. So I just so I guess that we might receive send payload some kind of like trash data, include some kind of like some kind of Rust encoding information in it, and PHP just won't be able to parse it and like just okay, I'm failing. Okay, let's check once more time. Write version. Oh yeah, so we are writing the version. Frame version 1. Oh, actually we can just write 1 because version is yeah, this is 1, just 1. Okay, write flags. So we are writing a control flag and JSON flag. Yeah, then we are marshalling our payload into vector, writing it into our frame. So here we have 2 operations actually. With one operation we write payload len, and with the second we write a payload. But in Rust I just implementing this, and oh, I didn't do this. Oh yeah, I did this. So I use so I'm writing a payload at the same time as I writing an actual data. So then we're writing CRC, and then we're sending the data. And as the response, I guess the problem is that we are using, so let me see actual Golang version. I think that we have to use naked worker instead of a PHP. I'm sorry, instead of HTTP worker. Let me check tests. I guess so. This is the, but what we are using inside? Yeah. Oh yeah. So I forgot to remove this. Yeah. Okay. So now it should be fine. Now it should be fine. Frame receive std out. Frame flags. Yeah. So I guess we can just put a breakpoint here somewhere. Yeah, now it's okay. So okay, sorry guys, I just forget to remove this. Our this is used for our tests of timeouts, for the timeouts, and I just forget to do this. And now we are seeing payload command. Yeah, so result. Yeah, so this is the same PID. No, the same. I'm sorry. This is a PID of our worker. So actually, and we can check this. We can check. So PS aux or grep PHP worker 163472. Yeah, so exactly the same as you may see here. So this is our worker PHP. This is our actual application. Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm just this is not a RoadRunner, so this is our like grep from the console. So actually we have only PHP test. Okay, so this is nice. We have implemented like a little bit more commands here. So we implemented a PID, we implemented a send control flags. Now we can basically so I forgot that we have to implement these commands to start working on our actual RoadRunner worker. So this is a basic building blocks to implement just worker startup procedure. Every procedure of the like I'm sorry, not every, just every transport in Go SDK supports this sending of communicating like initial phase, like handshaking with the information with the PHP worker. Actually, and yeah, and we implemented the last building block, I guess, for our SDK. Yeah, and yeah, this is it, I guess, for today. And yeah, so tomorrow we are going to actually start. I'm just replace all of this kind of errors with the correct one, and tomorrow we are going to start actually implementation of the worker. So we would have the ability not to send this payloads like directly, but we might be just pass like a slightly high level payloads, like we not work with these frames, with the bytes, etc. We can just send like some kind of binary data which represents our payload, and the worker should respond us correctly, yeah, without like dealing with all of this kind of frames, like these ands, ors, and binary logic, and etc. So it's very nice to deal with this, but it's very low level things, and we should be slightly upper in our communication with the process. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening, and see you as usual tomorrow. Bye bye.